There's an alleged incident where a miniature bat was grabbed by Brad Aldrich, where he was threatening John Doe, aka Kyle Beach, apparently saying, "You either are going to like it, or I'm going to make sure you never walk again and never play in the NHL." You have the meeting that apparently took place between all these higher ups. The word came through a lot of it's according to Bowman. That's the thing. A lot of these excerpts was according to Bowman. Bowman says he recalls Joel Quenneville, former head coach, now Panthers head coach, saying that this was not an issue that could be dealt with right now because of the position they were in going into the Stanley Cup Finals, because they had just won the game to go to the Stanley Cup Finals at that time for the first time in years. So
sounds like a pretty terrible excuse to me.
Yeah, exactly. And
pretty terrible.
And then here at the end, I mean, he's basically sounds like he's kind of blaming McDonough, saying McDonough was the one who said he'll handle it. He'll be the one to take care of the situation. He'll figure out how it's dealt with. But the gist that I kind of got from this was that everybody in this organization, everybody that was named in this thing, from Stan Bowman, you've got McDonough, you've got McIsaac, Jay Blunk, who was the executive vice president at the time, and then you have assistant general manager Kevin Cheveldayoff. I didn't get that name right, I'm sure, who's actually the general manager right now of the Winnipeg Jets, who knows how involved in this, but he was in that meeting. They all seem to turn a blind eye. These are horrible events that took place. This man, Brad Aldrich, as it was reported, was allowed, even knowing this event took place, after hearing that information, allowed to stay with the team, travel with the team. It's awful. I don't know how else to describe it as just pure awful. And the only thing I could think of was what we've heard a lot with college football. I know you're probably well known to this term.
Oh, yeah.
Lack of institutional control.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing that could come close to this, lack that I could find to describe it, where there is a total loss of control at the top of the pyramid. And it's clear that everybody had some sort of involvement in it. Everybody turned a blind eye to it. And my biggest note from it was this is absolute negligence on their part. And it was trophies over trauma. They made their choice. They made their decision. They decided we wanted cups over a young man's, future. They said, well, we're not going to, because obviously they didn't want the story to be that. But to me, that's just wrong, because now it comes out and now it's worse.
Over this kid's livelihood, too.
Yes.
Like, his career was threatened. Like, I heard him parts of his interview on my way over here in the car, and just hearing the emotion in his voice and the fact that this is finally coming to light and something's finally being done, and having to recount what happened and talk about it. Like, you can hear all that emotion in his voice.
Yeah.
And what he went through is awful. And it just, it blows my mind that this happened, especially in this organization. You thought that these guys were, that this type of thing would never be allowed in this organization.
No, I think everybody thought, of all the organizations that we had seen in the city of Chicago, listen, we joke, we make fun, all that stuff, obviously. But when it comes down to it, there's always been that feeling that Rocky Wirtz and Danny Wirtz have had a very good control over how they run the Blackhawks. Now, we've been critical of Stan Bowman, of course, because of hockey decisions and all these types of things, right? Of course, we're going to be very upset. We've been calling for his head now for a while. But this is just not this is one of those things where it's like, well, you're almost at a loss for words, because it's like, then this should have happened years ago. This shouldn't have even been a question. This should have happened so long ago. And now, obviously, this adds a butterfly effect, because now Joe Quenneville is going to have a meeting now with the commissioner. Again, Kevin Cheveldayoff. Again, I hope I'm getting that name right. If I'm not, sorry, whatever. But there's a question on how involved was he in this thing. So now there's potential that Quenneville might never coach again. I mean, not to say he won't coach again, but obviously after a moment like this, that could be the end of his career. And same thing with Kevin Cheveldayoff. This could be the end of him being a GM for the Winnipeg Jets when they've been so successful. And you think about all their careers and everything, and now all of a sudden there's going to be this black mark that kind of is going to be on Bowman, McDonough, McIsaac, all these guys. And it's a shame. And now it even puts kind of a black mark even on, like you said, on the Stanley Cup. Because now if they wanted to, if they really wanted to, the NHL, by the way, which $2 million fine was given to the Blackhawks, which, by the way, was $1 million less than what the Devils got for their whole thing with Kovalchuk, which I think is absurd. I think there should have been a way bigger fine for this kind of lack of institutional control, honestly, on the Blackhawks' part. It just feels like that there might have even been a moment where they may have even said, well, should we take away the cup? I mean, it doesn't feel, I mean, I know there's a lot of people that would say, well, what warrants to take away the cup? I'm like, well, no, I can understand that it's not an on the ice situation, but it's affecting one of your players that plays on the ice. It's one of the Blackhawks players, and he was still allowed to be a part of the organization at that time. There can be serious damages there.